Good morning, good evening, hello, wherever you are, Adobe Max. Thank you so much for tuning into this special session all about Adobe Fresco. It's my favorite app, and I'm so excited that I've got one of my favorite illustrators here today to help me talk about the features in Fresco and also what just came out in the keynote, which was amazing. Okay, so let's get you introduced to this wonderful illustrator, Octavia. Octavia, please say hello and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, thanks Renee. Yeah, my name is Octavia Bromell, but everyone calls me Tink, and I'm an illustrator based in the south of the UK, so it's evening for me. Yeah, I found the keynote super inspiring, and I have been so excited to get my hands on all of these crazy new features that we're gonna have fun with. So yeah, as an illustrator, I use a lot of color in my work. I have a lot of fun with my work, but I also touch a lot on my personal experiences with mental health. Yeah, but above all else, I have a lot of fun, and drawing is a part of everything I do, really. It's part of every day.
Mental health is so important. And you just finished your session, right? That talked about how you
I
use
did.
illustration for that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, so my session has just finished premiering, so you can watch it on demand. It's called A Joyful Life, Illustrate Your Way to Contentment and Success.
I want to do that.
Yeah, it's basically, I just chat about my journey into illustration. I haven't had the most textbook route into my career as an artist, but through a lot of really tough times, I have managed to carve out a life for myself that I not only enjoy, but people seem to keep hiring me to draw things, which is pretty much my dream job. So
oh,
yeah.
That's wonderful. And you were a creative resident, right? Can you tell the people out there a little bit about what the creative residency is and how that experience was?
Yeah, sure. So I was a creative resident for the 2019 cohort, which still feels weird talking about it in the past tense instead of present tense. The creative residency, if you're not familiar, is basically a career Kickstarter, but that's a very simple way of describing a very complicated and amazing thing. It's essentially a year's funded work on your passion project. So I spent my year working on a project called The Joyful Everyday, which is the concept that you can find happiness in the tiny little parts of life. And I kind of explored that through drawing. And obviously, Adobe Fresco was a huge part of that, and sharing that with people.
That's wonderful. And your artwork here that we're looking at, it's so beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit about this specific piece? It makes me happy, just the pink fields.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really do like to have a lot of fun with my work. And I thought that this would be a good place to start. Like Renee mentioned, we're going to show some new features. I wanted to have like an existing illustration that I could overlay some things on top of to show you how I might not only use Fresco, but use some of these new features as well.
That's awesome. All right, so let's dive in and talk about Fresco. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about what it is, and then we'll actually get into the app. So Adobe Fresco is our app that's specially focused on drawing and painting. And you can see from Octavia's little iPad there that it's just for drawing. Like, you look at this and you know it's a drawing app. You got your brushes, you got beautiful colors, you got your layers, and it's free for everybody to use, absolutely free. So the whole world can access Adobe Fresco and have fun with it and express yourself. Right now it's available on iPad and on Windows, Now you do want to check the Windows requirements to make sure your machine can handle it, because we got some fancy tech in there that makes the blending of the live brushes work. So not every computer is compatible with it, I'm sorry to say. And please remember to have a tablet device that you can draw with so that you can save your wrist, because it's very important to take care of your body. So that's Adobe Fresco. Please go get it if you've got an iPad or a compatible Windows machine. And also iPhone, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, but we're saving that for later.
Sneak peek.
Right? And instead, let's talk about your favorite features in Fresco. So the first one that I think I already can see from your artwork is layers. Fresco has unlimited layers. Octavia, tell me how you use, wow.
And they're in groups as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things from like a practical point of view about Fresco is that you can have a massive canvas and still have loads of layers, which, especially if I'm working on a client project, you might get really far into the project and then they want to change a specific color in one part of it. And if you have to flatten all the layers, which I used to have to do, then it's really hard and you might have to redraw it. And yeah, basically I think I'm too much of a perfectionist to be able to flatten my layers confidently. And I think every piece I've ever done is still like separated out like this. And you can see I've got like groups for the tree, and then that's got more layers in it. So yeah, but I actually was reading something on Twitter the other day that said there were two kinds of people that name their layers and people that don't. And I definitely do not. They're all called like layer and untitled layer number 103 or yeah, but I love the volume of layers you can have.
Right. Thank goodness you've got groups though, right? So that kind of helps you out there so that you can go crazy with the layers, but then you got the groups at least to bring you on home.
Definitely.
That is so awesome. Okay, cool. So another thing that I think is really cool about Fresco is the cloud storage. The fact that your cloud documents not only are accessible on any device with Fresco, but also Photoshop desktop. Do you use that feature?
Yes, I use it all the time. I run an Etsy shop where I sell prints of my work and also other stationery goods like greeting cards and things like that. And it's constantly astonishing to me how quickly I can literally finish a drawing and save it in Fresco and then open up my laptop and the full document is there, and I can change the document or anything like that. And not just Photoshop on the desktop as well. I frequently open up Photoshop on my iPad.
Oh yeah.
If I want to make like layer adjustments and things like that. So yeah, but the cloud storage is just, I mean, I've talked to you about this so many times, but it's a real lifesaver. And the fact that it has it as a backup, not only like to be useful to access from different devices, but as a backup to store all of my work is crucial. It's crucial.
Yeah, I think you told me a story about how you lost some of your work because you were using something else and your iPad crashed.
Yeah. I mean, I have been drawing digitally since before Fresco was released back in the dark ages. And I used to have to upload my document at key stages to Dropbox and just hope that if my iPad crashed in between that I wouldn't lose that much work. So yeah, it basically makes everything smoother. It makes my life a lot easier and I stress less, which is very important to me.
Very important. I'm so glad to hear that. That's definitely something that the team at Adobe, especially the Fresco team, wants. They want users to walk away with that happy feeling. So I'm glad. I'm really glad that worked out. And you talked a little bit about your Etsy shop. So does that mean you actually like make real printed projects and you use cloud documents for that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being able to, I could design some wrapping paper, for example, and being able to upload the PSD from my iPad directly into an email to send to the printers is so useful. And obviously a lot of printers, my printer has wireless printing, so I can even print an art print directly from my iPad without having to upload it to my laptop and then send it to the printer. And I know it seems really small, but it's the little steps, I think, that just make it a lot easier as a whole.
I agree. It's all those little things. It's kind of like what you were saying about how you use illustration to sort of brighten your day. It's those little things that make the workflow so much better. All right, last, I wanted to talk to you about brushes. Fresco has thousands of brushes, and I just wanted to see what you thought about the brushes that are in Fresco.
Yeah, so this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I think it's something that even people that have been using Creative Cloud for a really long time might not realize, which is everyone that has a Creative Cloud subscription has access to thousands of brushes created by the phenomenal illustrator Carl Webster. So you can see here, if I go to all at the top, this first section is ones that are preloaded into Fresco, and there's loads preloaded into Fresco that Kyle has actually hand selected. But obviously, being a professional illustrator, these are library brushes, so these are further ones that I've gone on to download. For example, you can see the Mega Pack, which has 363 brushes in it.
Oh my goodness.
I know, but then in my favorites, I have, these are the ones that I use regularly, really regularly.
So you use the favorite brushes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have so many brushes loaded onto my iPad that I think if I didn't have favorites, I would spend more time searching for the brush than I would actually using it. But people always ask me what my favorites are, and at the moment, I've been spamming the gouache pack from Carl Webster. The gouache bonus gritty dry, which you can see here, is probably my favorite. Actually, if I turn the size up so you can actually see it. It's a gouache brush, but it's kind of like a pencil texture. It's really, really nice.
That is really nice. Man, Kyle's so good at that.
Isn't he? Isn't he the best?
Oh, we're really lucky to have him. So yeah, if you're a Creative Cloud member, please know that you can go get Kyle's brushes. And I think, Octavia, that link is actually in the app if you open up that brush at the very bottom, right?
Yes, this little plus at the bottom here. If you click that and then go discover new brushes, it'll take you to the landing page and show you all of the thousands of brushes that you can download for free.
That's so
awesome. As you can see, it says here library brushes. So when I do things like open it up in Photoshop, all of my library brushes are also in Photoshop. So if I want to do anything on a graphics tablet or on my phone, as we're going to show a little bit later on. So yeah, it works pretty well.
I'm so glad to hear that. You know, brushes are so important. And I think most people are kind of brush collectors more than users, but it doesn't matter. If it makes you happy, that's what we're about.
I have hundreds and I regularly use probably 6 or 7. So
me too. I'm the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are kind of things that have been in Fresco for the last year, but let's talk about the new stuff. So first up, text. We have added text layer support in Adobe Fresco. What do you think of that, Octavia?
I am very excited about this. Again, this is probably just going to get rid of an extra step for me.
Yeah.
Like I was talking earlier about making greetings cards. At the moment, I open it up in Photoshop and then type the text and reformat it and everything. So being able to actually go in Fresco. Yeah, I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. I was telling Renee, I actually have a YouTube channel and I post weekly studio vlogs. And I really like this font, which is called John Doe. You can see here, if I just open up all the fonts, it has every font that's available in Adobe fonts. So yeah, you can, again, there's so many that you'll probably need to take some time and pick out a few favorites and what works with your style. But for me, I really like yeah, exactly. For me, I really like the John Doe because it's kind of a bit scratchy and fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Look, I'm typing hello Adobe Max.
That's so awesome. You know, it's such a boon to not have to leave Fresco if you want to like try text, right? If you're like doing, especially for you, greeting cards.
Yeah, or if I want to make a social post or anything, really.
That's so awesome. And I know that those text layers work perfectly with Photoshop on iPad or Photoshop desktop. So, you know, it's going to be exactly the same layer, exactly the same size and shape, and it's no problem to just edit it right away. So really cool, really powerful. Okay, next, smudge brushes. What? Can you show us
Yes.
the smudge tool?
Yes, I'm just gonna pick this orange that I was using before, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit of something. And then if I go to smudge, oh, I haven't.
Whoa.
This is how new the feature is. I haven't added my favorite
Right.
brushes yet. But if
No
I go
favorite
into
set.
dry and then do the rough pencil, which is in my favorites anyway,
Oh, wow.
I probably need to make it a bit bigger.
Yeah, but I
There you
see
go.
it.
You can see it
That
really
looks
spreads out the
so
texture.
good. It
So
really does.
I've done a bit of a scrappy version of this, but if I wanted to do something like add some shading to the bottom of these hills along here, or yeah, it's being able to have a blending tool. Like, again, people that have drawn in Photoshop on a graphics tablet will be familiar with being able to change the the brush modes and blending modes and things like that. So it's kind of just bringing that into Fresco, really.
So cool.
Yeah.
And it looked like when you opened up the smudge tool, it was like every pixel brush, like all of the
Yes.
same ones.
And again, it's got all of my library brushes. So once I've had a couple of hours to play with this, you can tell this is going to be my task for this week. I'll be able to go back in with the exact same brushes that I normally use. And sometimes, like obviously here I've done a pretty dramatic version of it, but if I'm drawing water or something, sometimes you might only need like 1 or 2 brush strokes, but being able to have that is really great, and I'm very, very excited.
It's so cool. And if I understand it right, those smudge brushes, again, work perfect in Photoshop. So all those library brushes, all your favorite smudge that are in Photoshop, just bring them over to Fresco and they work the same.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. One more note is the touch shortcut. So I have been told by a little bird on the dev team that if you're drawing, you can actually use the touch shortcut to switch to smudge. Have you tried that out?
Do you know, I haven't. Let's give it a go, Renee.
Okay, we're doing it live, guys.
Okay. Oh no, that's erase.
Is it the
I probably
secondary?
don't have it set up.
Maybe it's the secondary touch mode. You know how you can tap twice? Was that it?
I don't think I've got it set up on my iPad.
No, okay.
Hang on, I can probably do it.
We're digging into settings now. That's the point in this session that we've gotten into technical settings.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to do it.
I totally jumped on you live and tested this out. So don't even worry. But I'm pretty sure there's a way to set it up, and we'll figure that out and we'll add it to the comments of this video so that those people who want to know, they definitely will know. Okay, cool. So moving on from smudge, which is huge, super awesome to have smudge.
Yeah.
It gets better though. There's more. So like, hang on, guys. Multi-select layers. So now, not only can you add hundreds of layers, you can grab them all at once.
Yeah. So if I go over here to these 3 dots, then anyone that has used Fresco will know that this is where a lot of your like extra layer functions are. And if I just hit select multiple, and I'm just going to click all the ones that I've just drawn on. So I've got this heart and then the little smudge and the type. And then I think, yeah, there you go. I just hit that little folder icon on the side and it's now grouped them. So I can turn them all on and off. Goodbye.
Wow. That is so useful. I love that because I'm the same. Well, okay, I can't say that. I go back and forth between both. Sometimes I'm so lazy, I just paint on one on for what I'm drawing on. And I can see how this would help.
Yeah, I mean, I start with a very rough sketch when I'm doing a drawing, but I rarely have all of the colors. Like I have a rough idea in my mind, but I never have it planned 100%. So regularly I'll like finish an illustration and then go back in and change all of the colors. So yeah, really useful.
I'm the same. I do that too. And I think that's one reason why digital art is so important to me, because I really like to change my mind.
Yeah, 100%.
And you get to do that. You get undo and you get to change colors and do whatever you want. Okay, so that was multi-select layers. Very cool. We've also got Apple Pencil and also stylus. There's an extra setting in the app settings where you can change the pressure curve. Have you tried that yet?
I haven't. Is it under input?
It should be under input. Pressure curve. You were on the pre-release, right? Or is this the store version?
Ah, do you know that's why?
That's probably
I don't have the pre-release. That's why the smudge didn't work. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all. It's probably all that is that you're on an older version.
I can switch to it right now.
Let's try it. Again, we're doing it live, folks.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Yeah, it should show up here.
Okay, so I've just switched over to the pre-release version.
All right, now let's see if we can actually get into the settings. Maybe you can find that. Let's go to input and see what we got.
There we go, area, which is super handy. I love that in the brush settings section as well.
Right.
So if I just do that, then you can see it's obviously taken off a lot of the lower end of the brush, or if I go all the way the other way, it's very skinny.
Wow.
But honestly, I think just being able to adjust, because I actually really scribble with my Apple Pencil to the point that I've gone through like 4 or 5 points of my Apple Pencil in the last year because I press very hard. So this is probably going to be really useful.
Did you say 4 or 5 in the last year?
I did. I draw for my job. Okay, Renee, it's allowed. It's allowed.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to try to shame you. I'm awed actually at how much power you have, how much illustrative power that you show, because wow, I can't even imagine drawing that much, but that's cool.
To be fair, I also have the paper-like screen protector on my iPad, which I think also adds to that. But yeah, this is going to be really great. Being able to actually adjust the pressure settings of the actual Apple Pencil will be really great.
Right? Can you tell me a little bit about that screen protector? Because I think that's something that people are interested in.
Yeah, so it's basically, it essentially just adds friction to the surface of my iPad, which again, when I'm drawing all day, every day, it just gives you that tiny bit of extra control.
Right.
It's just like a matte surface that goes on top of my iPad, and especially for doing fine details, or if I want to use a more unpredictable medium like the live brushes, being able to be really specific about where my Apple Pencil goes is really helpful. But honestly, I think it's just a personal preference. I think it's just like people have different types of paper they like to draw on. You know, it's just personal preference. But I love using it, I have to say.
That's cool. It's one of those things people always talk about is like, you know, when they talk about drawing on the iPad, that the feeling of glass kind of bothers them. But much like how we were talking about like layers, I think I'm just too lazy to change it. I just don't.
But I think we change the things that matter to us. And this is the thing about Fresco, is there's so many layers of settings, and you can really personalize everything 100%, or you can leave it exactly as it is when you open it. And
that's true.
It's all about options, isn't it, really?
Yeah, no, it is. It's about options. You should be able to personalize these things to your taste as an artist, because, man, we're all different, like so different. And that's what makes things beautiful. All right, 100%. So that was the Apple Pencil pressure curve, right? And we got that under settings, which is really cool. So you can customize exactly how it feels. And you know, I said Apple Pencil, but it's on the Windows version of Fresco too. So if you're using any sort of stylus, whether it be the stylus that came with your computer or something from Wacom, then you can change that pressure curve as well. Very cool. Next up on the list, version history. Now, it's not really exciting to talk about, but it's useful, right? So what do you think about that?
I think it's all about options, and especially as I was talking about a bit earlier with client work, you know, being able to have set points that you can go back to. Like, for example, I might be working with a client who wants to go with a specific color palette, and then if they want to change the color palette of the whole thing, being able to go back to the original colorway that's just like one use I can think of.
That's
again,
awesome.
it's just about options, isn't it, really?
It really is. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you'll find that in the home screen if you go there, and it should be under the little options for your cloud documents. Let's see if we can show the fine people out there where they can find version history. Yeah, should be underneath there. You might have to go to the your documents. Yeah, it's like where your documents are, and the 3 little dots down on the bottom. My preview
version history. There we go.
Ta-da! Uh-oh, it's a red bar.
Yeah. Again, this is the pre-release version, so
yeah. Sorry about that, my friends, but that's where you're gonna find it. Yeah. So your version's gonna have it, I promise.
Yeah, it's just in these 3 dots.
Yeah, under those 3 dots, and you can browse anything that's been previously saved. And this actually was available through the website assets.adobe.com. All you got to do is go there and log in with your Adobe ID, and you can access your files anywhere. But we knew how important it was for you guys to get it right in the app, and so that's where you'll find it. Okay, next, let's talk about the improvements that they have to Timelapse. So they've increased it to 4K. Now, before we get into it, you have to go into settings, and you have to change the setting, because it doesn't just up-res all your recordings, right? Does not, that should make sense. You have to change the setting here for time-lapse first, then you can get a much higher quality.
And then if you select high resolution as well. And I was telling Renee how, again, I post weekly videos on my YouTube channel, and I do studio vlogs, so it's quite often a mixture of me packing Etsy orders, and then I'll switch to a time lapse that I've drawn in Fresco. So my camera shoots in 4K, so being able to actually match that resolution with a time lapse of my drawing is going to be so awesome. It's going to be so great. I'm very excited.
That's so awesome. Yeah, just better clarity, more crispness. And, you know, that way you can draw at big sizes and then share at big sizes. I'm so happy for you. And I can't wait to check out your YouTube channel. I feel like such a bum friend not even knowing that you were doing that. That's amazing. It's Tink Outside the Box. Is that right?
I think the channel is Tink Illustration.
Okay. I'm going to find that.
But if you fancy following along, my website is tinkoutsidethebox.com, and there's a link in the top bar to it. So.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So we went over the new features. We talked about text, we talked about Smudge, multi-select, the Apple Pencil and Stylus pressure curve, version history, and time-lapse export. But that's not all. We've got the iPhone. So today we announced Adobe Fresco is available on your iPhone, which means a lot more choices, a lot more customization for you, because you can get your files anywhere. Octavia, tell me how you feel about Fresco on iPhone.
So first of all, I'm just going to come out of my iPad so that we can have a little
go ahead and do that.
But I'm so excited. Honestly, I think the most exciting thing for me is because I get asked all the time by people about how they can get started with drawing.
And you know. Did you switch, my dear?
Yes, I'm sharing the screen now.
Give us just a second on my. Get the iPhone back.
Technical difficulties.
We want you to see this beautiful iPhone.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Oh my gosh, look at this froggy. He's so cute.
So I actually drew this on my phone earlier today.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I did. Actually, if I just go back to the home screen, I can show you again. I've only had this for 24 hours, so that's why there's not very many local projects yet. But I did one of a cat. I did this quick little landscape, and of course the little tiny frog. And yeah, as I was saying, I think the most. I drew these all on my phone in Fresco. I get asked all the time, especially on Instagram. I have a lot of followers who are also aspiring creatives and they want to start a creative career. And I think that if you don't already own an iPad and an Apple Pencil, it can be a pretty big barrier to entry. So I think being able to almost have this like taster to see if it works for them, if it works for their workflow, I think that aspect is going to be huge. And also it's really handy. As I said, like I've drawn those 4 little projects on my phone today. And I think there are definitely going to be times where I choose that over my iPad when I'm doing quick little things like this. So I actually have a Patreon page, and once a month I do a digital download for my patrons, and I regularly do phone backgrounds. So being able to draw a phone background on the phone, it just, it works.
That's such
somehow.
Awesome inception. Like I'm on my phone, drawing a phone background for your phone.
Yeah.
I love that. This froggy is so great. I definitely want this as my phone background.
Oh, I'll have to send it to you. And I actually dug up, for anyone wondering, I drew the first 2 projects that you saw with my finger, but then I remembered that before I had an Apple Pencil, I actually found this third-party stylus that works with my phone.
I forgot about those too. We used to use those for our iPads.
Yeah. Pre-Apple Pencil days. So it's a bit of a fossil, but it still works, and it worked really well. So.
That's great. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Well, okay, it's Fresco on the iPhone, but you tell me as an artist, do you feel like it's lesser or like it doesn't have all the features?
Honestly, again, I've only had it for 24 hours, but everything that I've looked for has been here. Again, if I go into brushes, like before, I've got all of the standard brushes, all of my library brushes are there, like I was talking about earlier. If I go to favorites, all of my favorites are here. And again, it's exactly the same brushes that I would use in Fresco on my iPad, in Photoshop on my desktop. So, and again, another question I get asked all the time is how you define your style and how you kind of stand out. And for me, it's not even really about standing out, but I think having a recognizable texture element to your work can be really, really helpful. And this just makes that super duper easy. So yeah, I think it's great.
And so you can access all your cloud documents. Do you mind showing that off? Because I think it's in the home screen. And then
it is. My work at the bottom. And then you can see there's the mushroom.
Wow.
So I open that one up.
So when I saw this, that you could actually access the same files, I was imagining a situation where I know we're in a weird time, so this is like a fantasy situation, but like you're at a cafe and you need to change something and you don't have your computer or your iPad, and Fresco iPhone could save you.
100%, definitely. To be honest, like even if I need to, I think that one's going to take too long to open because it's too big. We're really testing the English countryside Wi-Fi. But yeah, you can see all of my projects are here. That's my one that says Etsy tips is my YouTube thumbnail file. So I could really easily just go in and edit that. I've got some enamel pin designs. Yeah, all of my cloud documents are here. And even if I was like sat downstairs and I couldn't be bothered to go upstairs and get my iPad because I only needed to turn off one layer, it's just about having options. And
lazy people.
It's really easy. Yes.
That's
Work
totally
smarter, not harder, Renee.
That's right. Just be lazy and use my phone. But that's amazing. And I love that you have access to everything on your phone. You got all your brushes and you can still add a million layers and edit them. And I just love that the dev team didn't stop. Like they just went, nope, we're putting the whole Fresco on this iPhone.
I have to say, when I first heard that it was coming to the phone, I definitely thought it would be more pared down than it is.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm super impressed by it. And I'm just really excited to see what people like you create in 24 hours. What? That's
I don't need much of an excuse. Give me some new technology, especially drawing technology.
Oh, that's so great. There's one more thing too that we didn't really talk about that they announced at Max, and that's live streaming out of the app. Now, I think if you switch back to your iPad, we can show off where the feature is. And then actually, once after we do that, after we show the fine people where it is, I want to peek in on somebody that's live streaming right now. Can we do that? We're gonna do that.
Let's do. I'm gonna come out of my phone.
Okay, sounds good. I'll take this moment to take a drink of water, which might be a little loud. I hope not. It's fizzy water. So yeah, live streaming is not only important for building a brand or expressing yourself or even hanging out with people online, but you can actually really inspire and teach people tricks of the trade, and then you can learn them as well. And that's why it's really important for Adobe to support live streaming. And it all goes through Behance. So here, let's go ahead and take a look what it's like if you were gonna go live.
So I think it's under the share menu, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So, oh no, maybe it's under the home screen actually.
No, I think it is under share, but maybe try the other. No, I don't know. Since we're dealing with two different versions on your iPad, it might be in the actual version. We can give that one a go.
I'll just switch to the other Fresco.
That was smooth.
There we go. Yes, you're so right. Live stream.
If you click on that button, I think what it does is it actually just opens up like the module for Behance, because what happens is it'll actually stream straight to your Behance profile. And Behance is an awesome community of artists where you can share and collaborate and show off the awesome work that you've done. And now you can even hang out with them live using live streaming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but especially since lockdown, I really like working with something on in the background, whether it's a podcast or a YouTube video or a live stream. And I've definitely been leaning on Behance to keep me company while I work during these weird times. I'm obviously not going to go live streaming from my iPad because we're already live streaming.
I don't know. I mean, things might explode if we did that, if we live stream ourselves during a live stream, but we are going to do a little bit. We're going to do a little bit because what we're going to do right now is I'm going to get my screen set up and we're going to drop in on a live stream by Tanya Heidrich. Actually, right now, let me make this big so that we can do this. And then, okay, I'm ready for us to show off my screen. We're looking at Tanya's Behance profile, and you'll see right here, she's live right now drawing a geometric pattern in Fresco. And we can click on Watch Live Stream, and we should be able to actually literally hang out with her.
Oh. This is very meta, like a stream within a stream.
Right?
There's one about art activism in about 20 minutes. There's so many good ones at the same time, though. You're gonna have to go back and rewatch them. Oh man, yeah, that's what weird timing to put that at the same time as Roxane Gay, because I feel like people who want to see her talk are definitely going to also be interested in art activism.
Going live. You know what? I realized I needed to log in because what I'd like to do is actually interact with her a little bit. So let's not create an account. Let's sign in. Can you believe that I wasn't signed in? I'm such a goofball. Give me just a second while I do this, and let's actually show the fine people what you can do while people are live streaming. So we're going to leave a comment in the chat and hang out with her just a little bit. Let her know that she's gone live with us. She's double live.
Live squared.
Live squared. All righty. And I got to change my layout a little bit because I can't really see the chat because it's kind of small.
All right, let's zoom out and take a look at how it looks right now.
All right, let's tell her. Oh no, I screwed up my
It's definitely coming together with the lines and the details.
There we go. So I can go ahead and send Tanya a little chat like that.
Hi Gus, thanks so much for joining in.
And I can tell her that we're double live.
Yeah,
Nice to have you.
couldn't be more live if you tried.
How about this, Eloise? I watch one, you watch the other, and then we can tell each other what we learned from it.
Love what she's doing here. It's so
Yeah,
detailed.
that looks really peaceful and calming.
Oh, hi,
It's a lot
Renee.
of fun to draw.
You're live with me right now?
That's
Double
right.
live. Cool. Sweet. Welcome.
We're showing the fine people how to use Behance and live streaming. So you can interact with artists all over Behance just like this.
So I have no idea if people can hear me on that double live, but let me finish this little section and then I'm gonna zoom out so that everybody can see what this pattern looks like right now. All right, so essentially this is inspired by these fields that I saw outside of Valencia when I flew out in August. Valencia, Spain is where I live. And this was the aerial view of, oh, okay, hi Renee, thanks so much. Yeah, so this is the aerial view that I saw from the airplane, and essentially it was these different fields.
cool.
There were just a couple of them, but I decided to repeat them and create them.
Can't do like in-person workshops at the moment. I think for obvious reasons, streaming has grown rapidly this year.
Really?
So
yeah, it's, you know,
very
I
cool
think
that you can do it from within the app.
being able to connect in any meaningful way during this weird time we're in is so important. And you can see that Tanya is talking right to us. We could ask her questions about our workflow. We could ask her her favorite brushes. We could ask her advice. We could just hang out. It's just a great experience. So if you have not signed up for Behance yet, please sign up. It's there, it's free, and it's a whole community of artists just like Tanya, just like Octavia, who want to hang out with you and they want to connect during this time. And you can learn from the pros. You can get just tips like you wouldn't even believe. It was probably just, sorry about that. It sounds like it was just a little covered by my hair. I'm sorry for my mic mistake. But what I was saying is just Behance is so cool. You can go live and talk to people. Let's go ahead and listen to our audio for just a second.
So whenever you hop onto my channel, onto my Behance account to see me live stream, it's usually going to be some version of black and white patterns. Right now I'm using Fresco to digitize a pattern that I had previously drawn by hand.
So if we wanted to ask her about her favorite tools or even like get advice, we could do that right here. And it's just so awesome. All right, cool. So that is live streaming on Behance. Please sign up. Please interact on Behance. There's so much there for you, like these awesome artists. And it's free. It's all available to you to have fun, to live stream and chat with each other and get tips and tricks from the community. We've got about 15 more minutes, Octavia, for our little session here. And so I kind of wanted to just open it up to you and see what kind of awesome things you'd like to do in Fresco or talk about in Fresco. We've got all sorts of cool stuff that we could dig even more into, which would be like, we could figure out if we could get that smudge working with the brush, or we could talk about your favorite brushes, or maybe tips and tricks that you think artists should know about, like clipping masks or shapes. What kind of thing do you think you want to fill out?
I mean, we could definitely show off the live brushes because we haven't touched on them at all, and that's like a huge part of Fresco.
That sounds great. Let's do that.
Cool. Okay, so I am obviously back in my mushroom, my mushroom lady. I think the thought process behind this was being carried away during a picnic. That's literally the thought that spurred this on. So yes, I can't really explain the finer workings of my brain, but hopefully you enjoy it.
I think it's adorable.
Thank you. So under these pixel brushes, which we talked about earlier, we've got all these Carl Webster brushes. Underneath that is the live brushes, and you can see there's watercolors and oils. And then underneath that are vector brushes. I personally don't tend to do a lot of vector art just because it's not in my style, but
Right.
you can draw vectors and then the shapes are directly editable in Illustrator. It's really cool. So if you are a vector artist, definitely check that out. But what I was just talking about are these live brushes. These, again, if you've heard anything about Fresco, they got a lot of buzz when Fresco was first released. And the surface basically stays active after you have finished drawing, which is unlike any other drawing experience I've ever had, at least.
So they stay wet is kind of like the idea.
Yes. So I've just opened up my colors here, and that's actually something I could touch on really quickly as well, is I have all of my library color palettes too. So if I go to recents, these are all the colors that I've used in this document. But then if I go to all and then back a step, these are all of my library folders that contain color palettes.
Wow.
So I have my colors. Oh, sorry.
No, and those are on the phone too, so you can access those from anywhere.
Yeah, and again, these are in Photoshop or Illustrator or any Adobe app. So these are kind of my standard ones that I like to use. Again, I like to use a lot of bright colors, but then I also have some saved palettes. These are kind of more like swatches. So I'm gonna pick this one. It's nice.
Those are great color swatches. I just love them so much. Like, honestly, just the way you've got them lined up is just so pretty.
These are all color palettes from other people that I've saved on Adobe Color. And then I open up Fresco and they're just there in the app. So it's really amazing and really helps to not have a stagnant color palette, because I think if you're just coming up with the colors yourself, it can sometimes be hard to imagine new colors, or at least it is for me. Maybe that's just me.
I find it tricky too. I don't think it's just you. I feel like not only do I use the exact same colors every time, but I don't think about really fun combinations if I don't do this kind of thing, if I don't get inspiration from other people. So it's so smart of you to do that.
Thanks, Renee. So you can see I've just put a layer down here, and if I zoom in, you can actually see it bleeds. It carries on bleeding after you take the pencil off, which
that never gets old.
It really doesn't. It really does not get old. But then if I go back in with this pink,
it's
and you can see
so
if
nice.
I just and I have two ways that I draw. I draw in Fresco, or I love using watercolor and gouache paint as well. So being able to have kind of this level of recreation digitally is really like you were saying. Oh, my headphone fell out. Like you were saying, it's constantly blowing my mind, because
now, you know what might be really cool? Could you grab that pink and that green and make a multicolor swatch? Have you done that yet?
Oh yeah. So if I turn the touch shortcut on, and then if I go into pixel brushes,
yes. Oh, and it's the secondary, I think. The outside ring. Yeah, there you go. Now I think it should do under eyedropper.
I've definitely done it before. I think it's just drawing.
Right? I jumped this one on you too. I'm sorry.
Well, there we go.
Yes.
Is that it?
I think so. Well, is it? It'll be multicolor in the swatch. No, that's just the middle. Let's try it one.
I've definitely done it before.
I know, I have too. I'm sorry that I didn't prepare you for this. This is my fault.
That's okay. This is live. But you know, if I actually just select in the Fresco colors, you can see that this is, if I turn that off, and actually if I then go back to the live brush, you can see in the little color circle it's got multiple colors selected.
Whoa,
and
that's so great.
Just bleed into each other. And I'm sorry that we can't get that feature working, but basically you can select two colors at once and then paint with two colors at once. Like It always reminds me of, did you have those pencils when you were
Yes.
at school that had like 3 colors in the nib?
Oh my gosh,
love
those were
them.
the best.
Weren't they? This is that in digital form.
Oh, you know what? I think you might have a little option down when you hit in the eyedropper. Is there an option on the toolbar at the bottom that says multicolor, or there's like a little icon
Um.
when you're in the eyedropper?
Ah. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's just moved because this is. Oh goodness. Okay,
worry,
there we
don't
go. Okay, so really quickly, I am just going to do that, and you can see now. There we go.
That
Saved
is
at the
so
last
cool.
moment. And again, these are the live brushes, so they'll all carry on bleeding into each other. And this is the layer that I drew right at the start, and the surface stays active, basically.
Whoa. That is so great. I love that. And you know what? There were actually literally scientists in the Adobe basement with real paint trying to figure this out, how to figure out how to like mathematically represent this. And I love knowing that we literally went that far.
Me too. That must have been such a fun job.
Right? Except it's all that math part. That's the not fun job, because you have to like translate that into complicated math. And well, I'm not so hot on math. That's maybe one reason why I also avoid vector art. It's just too much math for me.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Okay, we got about 6 more minutes left. And I thought, what else comes to mind? Oh, sorry.
I think
we only got like 2 more minutes.
Couple more minutes.
Instead of talking about more features, because I think we covered so many, I just want to thank you so much, Octavia, for your time. Thank you so much for your hard work on your session and all of the beautiful art that you put out into the world. It's really inspiring. Please, world, follow Octavia on the internet at Tink Outside the Box. She's on Instagram, and she's also on Behance. And let me tell you, it's going to brighten your day to follow her work.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here virtually. It's been lovely.
Yeah, look at this. Follow her right now. Tink Outside the Box. It'll brighten your day. Well, I think that's probably all we got right now. So I'm just going to say thank you one more time to Octavia. Thank you to all of you Adobe Max viewers. Thank you to Tanya for letting us jump into our live stream. Please use Adobe Fresco. It's free. We want to see your art in the world. Have fun at Max, okay? Be sure to check out all the sessions. Don't miss a single one. And now I'm going to draw. So